Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Heart of Scrolls. Today we've got a fun show, I hope. Ludwig seems happy, so that's good. So joining me today are Ice Cream,
Hello, everybody.
enthusiastic, that's what I like to hear. Jayad,
Yo, what's up?
hello, and some bearded bloke.
That's me! I'm the bearded bloke! Let's
That
You
go.
don't know how this
it
hobo
is a
got in
bearded
here. Wait,
bloke.
what?
It's like, where's Wally? Where is it? I don't know. Anyway, so today we're going to be chatting about pretty much just one subject, and that's the latest patch. Patch 0.10. No, it's 112? 121.
We are experts.
We know these things. 121. I'm looking at it now. It says 121. There you go.
We are here for you, Bojang. We got
yeah,
this.
We've got your back. We know things. We're prepared. Yeah. So this added a few things. All Giants off.
Falling apart!
It took 2 minutes and he's already off. Nice.
Okay. No, we are professionals. Let's go back.
Yo, guys.
Carry
what's
on.
up?
We'll carry on. We're good. Don't
Just
worry.
carry on.
Go,
It's
go,
fine,
wait,
Don't worry.
wait.
Carry on. Don't worry. He's back.
Yeah, just keep
Oh.
going. Don't worry.
That was
I
back.
just asked my brother if I had to close my door so he wouldn't
Oh.
get bothered by us talking.
Great timing. Great timing.
There was that bus of school children outside. I was about to get attacked by a giant elephant. So you had to go rescue them. That was it. Yeah. Anyway, patch 0.121 happened last week sometime. How many days ago was it? Is it Tuesday?
We know things.
We know things.
That's the theme of this podcast. It was 12th May, so that's 4 days ago.
12?
4 days ago.
12 was a Monday. What was Monday? Oh, cool. So yeah, that introduced Wild to all the formats in the game. So you are no longer safe. This seems to have caused a bit of a split decision of the community, I would say. That's the right way of putting it, which it isn't.
Isn't everyone happy?
No, people aren't happy, Ludwig. People aren't happy, and that's the point. People aren't happy with what's happened, and I think people should be happy, but they're upset over things.
Oh
And
dear.
I think we need to talk about it. So,
Someone grab
Wild.
the tea.
yes. So, Wild in all formats now. This is a way that Mojang have been planning to make multi-resource decks viable, and in some ways it's working because they are now viable. But it seems a lot of people are upset that it's now viable because it's doing horrible things. Apparently, decks around which seem to be taking the fun out of the game for everyone, ripping out people's souls. So that's what I'm going to be discussing to start off with. Ludwig, have you faced any of these horrible decks yet?
I faced a lot less than I thought I would. I basically faced, for the most part, I faced two kind of decks. And that is the infamous Chase deck, let's call it.
Oh, yes.
Which is basically removal every day, whole day, every week. And then we have the classical draw deck. People just checking, can you do draw decks again? No. That is the general consensus.
Short answer, no.
I thought I would see more of the that stall deck Rotspangle did, that Eva deck that Eva did with the whole Solemn Giant and all that kinds of it's a lot of kind of possibilities. I had my own growth and order thing that I have not yet tested because I'm just finished with sort of my competitive deck for the playoff and so on. But so I'm kind of surprised. I'm like, where's all the wild decks? But okay, what I think about it. You just asked me if I have faced any, and that is my answer
Yes.
to that. Should I go on, or shall we check what the Dryad has faced?
Let's check what Ice Cream and Dryad have to say about what they've faced.
Dryad, go.
Have you come across any of these things? Oh, Dryad, go. You got permission.
My turn.
Yes.
Yes, your turn.
Okay.
Go. We are relying.
I have not played a lot of Scrolls recently, especially since the patch. But I did.
Thanks for coming.
Play,
Good.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. I played on my stream day, and on my stream day, I faced I think two of those decks. One of them was pretty much decay, and I think he was doing something with growth at some point in there, but then he lost. And then there was another deck that I think also did something with Decay and Growth and lost. And then there was a normal deck that I actually lost against, so I have no clue what is going on. I've heard people complain. I have not had any trouble. I've also heard people say before this patch, by the way, that this was going to be the end of Structure Energy and the game was going to die and all the Structure Energy players were going to like commit suicide or something.
Did you hear anything
I don't know.
new?
Is that a bad thing?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a Structure Energy player. I enjoy that. I'm
Get
still
out.
doing
Go,
fine.
go.
I didn't mind.
Heretic.
That's pretty. That was that was what I had to say about that. Ice Cream, go ahead. I don't know. I didn't mind them too much. Also, I do agree. Sorry.
Can I go? Right.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure.
Yeah. So I didn't face as many of them in ranked. It's mostly growth for me, what I've been meeting. Because that's what happens after every patch. But I have been playing a bit more judgment than ranked, I think, and it's a lot of fun there. So in a
Good.
way, I was facing quite a bit of them. Yeah.
Right, so the consensus here, condescending, no. The general thing is that we seem to be facing not as many as we would have thought, and the ones we have been facing, they haven't been too much of a problem in terms of what's been reported. That have been hitting our
I
scores.
never said that.
Okay, Ludwig hasn't said that. Okay, what are you saying then? What are you saying?
I said that Go Draw wasn't a issue. Chase deck I can get more behind where people are annoyed from, but I was sort of expecting that kind of thing to happen. So
Has that deck been a problem for you?
what?
Has that deck been a problem for you?
Well, a bit. The thing is, I play aggro order as every other order player nowadays, and that is like one of the ways to deal with it. But you can't expect everyone to play heavy aggro deck. That should not be like the requirement for the game. Like, well, if you want to play this game, you must go super aggro. Well, you should be able to play other stuff. So I have won for the most, but I definitely see how it is super annoying and just keeps on remove. But the issue I find is how the ramp cards are designed, because of course we're gonna get these removal decks when most prominent ramps are removals. It's like we have, what have we, 2 things when it comes to the decay ramp. It's like not removal. We have the Teffer Recruit, who is more about board present token creature, and then we have, it was something else that I do not remember now. That probably. What the fuck is that sound? Like seriously, it's like.
I don't hear anything. It's in your
Well,
head.
anyway, okay. I'm gonna pretend like it's not sounding like a bomb is about to go off, because it's probably not that. It's something my brother's room. What? Okay, anyway. I'm a bit scared. It's like do.
Okay, go on with the topic.
All right.
Keep talking.
All right. So, and
Keep your
the
focus.
thing is, I'm feeling when it comes to the memorials, I think the memorial have potential to show what other things you can do cross faction, but they haven't really done well with the memorials. I was hoping you need to, just like with the decay ramp, do some sort of play or take action while doing the ramp, and there's sort of just 2 memorials that offers that. And one is that memorial which gives you instantly, if it is 5 energy or whatever, you can make some kind of play with that, play out that memorial, and then drop a cannon automaton. Not that I know why you would splash cannon automaton, but still, it's like that you can make some kind of play with. And then you have that memorial, which when you use a spell or enchantment, it dies and give you ramp, you can put it out and then put like a heritage on it and give instant heritage.
Woodland Memorial. Yeah.
Yeah. So
If we just quickly go through. Sorry to interrupt. If we just quickly go through all the memorials, and just discuss them quickly, then, because I think that's something worth covering as well, because it's quite a massive change that seems to have had an impact on.
Yeah. So it was just that my general point was that I feel like you can't really do much with the memorial, and because that they are not that prominent.
Yeah, okay, let's cover that subject on a bit more wider terms. So we've got the Decay Ram Scrolls. We've got Tethered Recruit, which is a 2/2/1 Decay creature for 2 that gives order when it's destroyed. We've got Return to Nature, which costs 2 and has a little hex effect that all creatures in that area get -1. And if a creature dies, you gain growth. And then you have the other one, Energy Siphon, which gives an enchanted creature -1 attack and -1 health. And then you gain 1 energy as well. So that's pretty good. And then you go over to the memorials, which were in the game before Decay came out. So they were offering ramp, and they've changed so many times throughout the game. They used to be able to give you... They used to draw your scrolls when they were destroyed. That was fun. I'm glad that doesn't happen now, but... they have now reached their 27th incarnation, I think. Desert Memorial. It costs 3, it's a 0/4, and when it's destroyed, increase energy by 1. So that's... not exciting, is it?
No.
I miss which memorial did you...
Desert Memorial.
Desert Memorial.
That did again. Let's see. One memorial is
War Forehead.
yes, but I'm reading.
Oh my god. Yeah. Could I jump in a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
And maybe shift the topic a little bit. I would not even go over the memorials because they feel weird, and some of them are cool, like Ludwig mentioned, but most of them still need to be redesigned quite a bit more to fit more things. And we were talking about ramp scrolls being heavily based around removal, and that's something that's the biggest issue I think most people have in WoW, because that produces the removal decks. And what I like is for cards like Temple Theft and so on, to more, not Temple Theft, I'm sorry, Vigor Extraction, the one that ramps from Order to Decay. That's something different from all the other ramp cards. It's not removal, and also Tethered Recruit. They are kind of different, and they support different kind of styles. So that is something that Mojang will probably have to work on. I'm hoping they will fit it into this set that's coming out soon. But if not that, then into the next one. We will need to have some kind of very cheap and aggressive ramp scrolls to help the aggro decks get started, and yeah, we'll have to see something like that in next sets for people to appreciate what Wild can bring to the game, because I've spent quite a lot of time building various decks with Wild, trying to make the most aggressive, most like best deck at early game, and it's just missing this piece of the kickstarting ramp that makes you go to the first wild and second wild, and you wouldn't have to worry about sacrificing for too many things when you want to keep putting out things. So more things like Tethered Recruit and more things like Vigor Extraction in that way, different than removal, needs to be introduced for Wild, for me personally, to be accepted as something we can have in the game, because right now it's just not going into the right direction. We all want more multicolor decks to be viable. I'll end in a minute, Ludwig. We all want multicolor decks to be viable.
And down, boy.
But there's a difference between multicolor deck and multicolor deck. We want multicolor decks that can be of all species, and right now the ramp cards are pretty much defining where it can go and where it cannot. And that's
Well, I'll just quickly say that. Hang on a second. The danger is that if you introduce some sort of ramp, get away. The danger is if you introduce some sort of ramp that'll be good for aggro decks. They will be super powerful in late game ones as well, maybe a bit too powerful. Because the only way I can think of for aggro decks is you gain temporary quick resources, like you play a 1-cost growth creature that gives you, say, 2 temporary order, whatever. So I'll be able to give you temporary advantage. That could be quite abusable in late game decks. I don't know, but
Maybe something
just situation.
that only works on low resources, so you can use
Yeah.
it at start and then it's useless. Something like that.
Hmm.
That would be
Isn't that
fun.
like? Aren't you talking about Vengeful Vator?
No.
Not necessarily, but yes, if Vengeful Vator would give one into other resource, that would be kind of cool for aggro decks. Yeah.
Anyway,
Good.
what I
Go,
wanted
go,
to
go,
say,
Ludwig,
what I
go.
wanted to
Go
say
Unleashed.
is that this is precisely why we wanted to talk about memorials, because memorials are supposed to do this ice cream and they are not, and we're gonna talk about why.
Well, they
Thank
are.
you, because I wanted to talk about memorials.
Okay, go on then.
Just want to quickly go over because Desert Memorial, when it's destroyed, it increases your energy by 1, and it costs 3 as a naught 4. So that basically doesn't do too much at all. It's pretty boring, pretty stationary. Woodland Memorial is the one you brought up, Ludwig, where it costs 2, has 1 health, and when you play a spell or enchantments, you gain growth. Law Memorial costs 2, and its countdown becomes naught. It's destroyed in order and is increased by 1, so that's not necessarily guaranteed resource there. Tribal Memorial. It costs 1. You have to pay 2 energy to destroy Tribal Memorial and increase growth by 1. Stone Pack Memorial, it costs 3. When Stone Pack Memorial comes into play, increase order by 1. So that's a normal sort of old school memorial. Sand Pack Memorial costs 3. When Sand Pack Memorial comes into play, increase your current energy by 5. So that's an interesting one. That's it. That's all of them. So they're the basic memorials we've got at the moment. They're pretty uninteractive in terms of progressing the game, where the decay ones are. So,
Yeah.
Ludwig, go.
So my my sort of question here, I will present my own ideas, is that as a general idea, what would you want the memorials to kind of do? Because personally, I think we can have a bit different ways for them to ramp if we want that, just for unique flavor. After all, the way memorials was before, it was really boring how they all did the same thing. So I'm okay they have some flavor in how they ramp. But I want them to do something so you can use it as a play as well, so you get beneficial in playing them out. Like for example, have maybe one memorial with just 1 health, but it has the Waking Stone effect, so to speak, so you can use it as a sort of shield blocker. And maybe one memorial has some kind of healing effect on adjacent units, a bit like a Druid Burial Grounding, something like that. Would that be just Druid Burial Ground? Maybe you want increased attack or whatever. But the point is, I want them to do something, have inspire effects, have some kind of row effects, have whatever, have that they have an effect on themselves. But so you can do something with them, because right now they are just nerfed memorials where they have conditioned how you ramp. That doesn't do anything, in my opinion.
Shide, any thoughts?
I like the Sandpack Memorial one with the current energy. I like the idea behind that.
Yeah, that is one of the ones I like.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I like. The other ones seem sort of blech. Specifically the one that's a 001 that costs 3. Let's see, where was that one? Second. There it goes. It costs 2, my bad. When you play a spell or enchantment, it gets destroyed, you increase growth by 1. I played against that one in one of the decks. Like I said, I don't remember exactly. I do remember somebody playing it, and I was like, okay. So if I thought that if I killed it, like it would get destroyed and it would still ramp. So I was like, oh, that's kind of annoying. But I still killed it because there was something behind it. And then it didn't ramp. I was just... And I think the guy used Frostgale in that deck and played those memorials. And if you Frostgale and those things are out, then they get destroyed by Frostgale instead of by the effect, and you don't get the ramp either. Like it's really, really weird. It's like you're casting a spell, they should proc, but instead you cast a spell, they die, so they can't proc. Tough tits, doesn't happen. It has some weird interactions, and I don't know.
We are against tough tits in this on this stream.
Oh,
the problem,
excuse me.
The problem with memorials is they are structures, and structures are generally not very exciting. Some of them kind of are, but still they are structures. They don't open up too many plays. They don't open up too many new and exciting things. Very few of the structures in game do that. So I would just get rid of the memorials and design something more innovative and more flavorful and something that's
Yeah.
not a structure, something cooler.
I
Yeah,
am with
actually.
you on that. Yeah,
I
I think. Hang on. I think
Yeah.
the best thing would be when they introduce the Nexus and they can actually introduce scrolls there. Actually bring in new scrolls that do ramp and do that. At the moment, the problem is changing memorials now will slow them down a lot as well, which is kind of annoying. But I think the only option would be to move them from the game at this point and replace them with something. But later on, when we have these new scrolls introduced, they will be fine as a sort of an extra option, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
currently, as they are, we have sort of like they're just there doing not good enough job for what we need.
Although I just want to point out that I don't think them being a structure is the issue. I just think them not doing anything
Well,
really
Yeah.
is the issue.
Well, what kind of decks are going to use structures? Like, what kind of exciting,
A lot of
cool
the
decks?
like one of the what is it is even growth use bloody structures. They use ancestral totem. It's like most decks actually use some kind of structure. It's not tons of structure. You don't need tons of structure, but they use.
Decay doesn't. Oh yes, it does. Okay.
Yeah, decay they don't necessarily use, but they can sometimes use
Well,
them.
That's a good watcher. That's the only problem.
The problem I have with them being structures really is that they open up options to decks that I don't think are good for the excitement in the game. Like, they are usually going to be used by some passive ramping deck that's going to slowly over 35 fucking turns tore you down, and by the design of these, except for very few exceptions, it's just I don't know, it blocks you from playing units because you have a structure there, and if the opponent doesn't get rid of it, then it's just there and it's blocking you and it's not opening up school awesome place. Yeah.
As long as well, I think that is not a major issue. But shall we go to what you wanted to talk about, Ice Cream? What kind of, so to speak, support units is needed into the game to make wild decks more potent than just heavy removals, so to speak?
Sounds like a good topic. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the topic. Who should start? Me?
Yeah, you should start. This is your thing. So give us your ideas.
Alright, so I don't know who mentioned it from you, but the Vengeful Vader I think is a great idea if some other unit had pillage that would give into other resources. That would be brilliant. Then some let's say it would be an enchantment, and if the no, that's stupid, enchantments are too slow. What is really fast? Units, right? So
Spell.
yes.
They're quite fast.
Yeah, but
I
those are
Units
mostly
and some
removals.
spells, yeah.
I just
Oh.
want to make a fan art about this. How on the bench, no ID sitting there like this may be my chance.
Would
This
a
is my comeback.
He's
would
actually
a one
kinda
cost
good.
creature that say gives temporary order be overpowered? I don't know. I just like the idea of being able to play one creature turn one, then another one as well.
Yeah, that
I think-
guy.
Yeah, really aggro. Like,
Just go full on aggro, but I'm just worried that something like that, as I said mentioned earlier, could be really powerful later on. But when we've seen that this Sandpack model hasn't done anything, and it gives you 5 temporary.
Yeah, I really like the idea of it being there specifically for the aggro decks and being limited to be one of your first 2 resources. Something that really gets you going and lets you pump out creatures without having to worry about sacrificing in the early game too much. That's what's most exciting when I think about it. Because when I tried to build the decks that were aggressive, it really was a problem to get to the second resource. Like, you had to decide which first to go on, and if you are going to split, then you could get very easily get fucked by the draw that are going to come and just keep drawing from one color and not using the other one. Something that helps you like transition from the first color you select to the first wild resource, and then it's fairly easy. But I don't know, even maybe some ramp scroll that would increase your wild, just simply your wild and not the other resource, could be also cool.
Or another option is introduce wild scrolls.
That would
So maybe
be,
things that cost say 2 wild, a creature that costs 2 wild and is a 3/4, something like that. Would that be too
fair.
good?
No, that would be fair.
It would be in need of testing, I would say.
It-
I cannot
Yeah,
judge
true.
if that is too good or.
it would again go
it's-
for the more late game oriented decks though. Those that would be heavily removal and just putting out these efficient units.
That
I
is
think.
true. You could run it in an early deck, just go for 2 growth, 2 order, and then 2 wild, I guess. But
It will
it does sound like
it-
it's prone to
And
get
it
late
wouldn't
game.
surprise me if those creatures existed that cost just wild, but are very gives good value for their wild cost. It wouldn't surprise me if once again Decay starts to use Return to Nature just to get wild and use these creatures. That would probably be something coming up, but. Yeah, that is. I think there's a lot of things you can do. You can do the whole wild creatures, as Blinker mentioned, and you can. I also think when you try to go for a sort of, it's sort of 2 approaches you can go. I think Ice Cream, you seem to be more into the whole. You need to be able to ramp. In a consistent or smooth way, whatever.
The starting way. I don't know when it happened, but I shifted from from liking the draw decks to like really liking the idea of really aggressive tempo decks like your tempo order or other tempo order decks. And I really like the idea, and I want it to be in wild. And I'm just thinking about how can we make it happen. What
I was feeling that may be a possible solution, but it feels like that will be really hard to balance out. I just have this hunch that there's gonna be a tons of abuse about that kind of system people find and how to.
definitely.
Another, what I think may be more into the future for scrolls, and is another possibility is to go more for that we have this sort of slow ramp trade-off that we have now, but what we get is more creatures that scales better into the more late game part, and the prominent example of that is like Bulk Hound. It's one of those creatures that scales better as he gets a buff from Dominion, but we can get all kinds of creatures. We have, for example, another that is not using Dominion for it. We have the Sister of the Owl. She costs too much so to be a low cost creature that scales later. But let's say we have the whole Sister of the Owl mechanic, but had her as a cheap unit. She would scale pretty good if you can get her going a bit into the more late game and so on, like a sort of breaker thing. And those kind of creatures, I think, will be more added, making a bit easier to get yourself on the same level as those who has more resources, so to speak, than you when you're trying to go multi-resource.
Just to answer a thing in the chat, that was me, Zark, who said that in RC. Just ideas about.
Well, the problem really with thinking about all the ideas is also thinking about how do you design the scroll without late game decks abusing it in some way. How do you let you have it in your type of deck and them not? And what I'm right now thinking is go heavily into the synergy thingy that's existing between growth and energy with gravelocks and stuff like that, and having maybe some kind of very cross resource combo specific ramp scrolls that would only work if you were really playing this kind of combination of cards in your deck. And I don't know, that would be maybe too restricting, and we want to open more deck variety, but I wanna see aggressive decks no matter what. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that too. Think of wouldn't it be kind of cool if we had like a creature, let's say a Gravelock, just for the heck of it, and you can sort of you can boost the creature. It works basically like energy pumping. You can boost the creature with a different resource, and it gives a different effect. Like if you boost it with decay, he gives poison on attack. If you boost it with the growth, he gives maybe he heals himself on attack, and if you boost him with order, he get maybe 1 armor, that kind of thing. That would be kind of sweet, in my opinion, to try around to.
It's interesting idea.
Dead
definitely.
silence.
No,
Let's
it's-
scrap that idea. Okay, fine.
No, it's interesting. It's just it is kind of cool. I like the Gravelock Outcast design a lot, like a lot. It's just
Yeah.
something missing.
Okay, I need to check something.
I-
I just think creatures that say gain attack for every energy you have. Something in Growth that was a 2/2/2 for 2 that gains an attack for each energy you had, or just something that interacts from different resources. That would be quite cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Again,
Yeah.
Mojang are only releasing each set with 15 scrolls on each resource, which kind of
Yeah,
is tough to integrate.
it's really hard to like suggest things and predict things when we don't know what's the next set going to look like and where in what direction it's going to shift things because the
Well, I don't think there's much resource interaction going on the next set. Or
Well-
anything like we've suggested anyway.
What I'm hoping for is it will open up more options when building aggressive deck with very low cost creatures, new low cost creatures. What I'm really excited about is to see the 3-cost champion that's going to be introduced, because if that is good, then it could open up some really aggressive plays. So
Depends what it
something like-
is.
Yeah, it depends on what it is exactly. So if something like that will happen in next set and will shift the meta into more aggressive way, then we might not need these things. But I don't know. I just really want to see it.
What is your insight to Dryad?
On trying to make Wild a bit more aggressive.
Say what?
I really actually agree on.
What
Sorry.
did you say? Exclusive?
You said
said,
aggressive,
I wanted
but
to
in like
say,
a weird
I-
sort of
I-
accent.
I said
Yeah.
aggressive.
You were
aggressive. Would you
what
like
I
to
meant-
be a bit aggressive?
Okay, pretty much in short, the thing I like most about between resource interaction is the thing Blinky and Ice Cream already said, which is the Gravelock Outcast. I think if you add more interactions like that, it will get a lot better. I do think that you need to keep those interactions sort of early game focused if you want to do the early game thing. Because again, with a creature that gains attack for energy, you can just like have those guys in, and if they have enough health, you can just get like 1,000,000 ramp, and late game they'll kill everything, just like Solemn Giants or whatever.
Yeah.
What you do is that you pump Gravelock Outcast with 1 growth, so you're sold on my idea.
Yeah.
Gravelock Outcast with 1 growth, yeah, pretty much that. Isn't that what they're already
Yeah.
doing? The
Yeah.
the regen thing, yeah.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, that's already how he works, I think. So that's pretty much what I like. Like, as long as you keep those resource costs low, the more aggro decks will have a bigger benefit from it. But the downside to that, of course, is that you can't make the effects too good. Because if you do, then the decks will just overpower every other deck too hard. So you have to be careful to not make the effects too strong. But for example, the regen effect, in my opinion, is just fine because he doesn't have enough HP for it to be ridiculous.
You haven't had him with Dradic power, did you?
Oh god, please, please. I actually
used
played
to
against
play
the
that.
I played against a Gravelock deck once that did something like that, and that was
Well, back old school times now. Back
Yeah.
in Alpha, that used to be a deck. We had 40 card deck limit, and the deck was the 9 Gravelocks, Ivy Eagle, Giant Power, and energy stuff.
Even
And it was
in
beautiful.
Oh my!
in June, Sisp and I used it. Just one Dradic power in Mono Energy deck, just a splash to have heal for him because he was fairly good option back then.
It's a nice interaction. It is
Yeah.
really strong. So.
It is really cool. Well, the
Off topic, because I feel to outburst it.
Go on, man.
This is the second or third bloody podcast when I have been in top 10 when I went from work, and when I come home just as the podcast start, I'm kicked out from top 10. Can people stop do this, please? God damn it! I want to
I
be
am actually very happy with this. I'm not in the top 10 either. Don't worry. I'm like 14 right now. I've been informed by chat. To be
Well,
fair, I haven't played since Wednesday, so.
Well, I wanted to raise another question. If going really aggressive, as I'm hoping for, is it only my dream, or do you guys think it would be good for the game too? Like,
You mean the game going all out aggression in general, or
not
just
all out,
aggressiveness
just
becoming more?
yeah, have an option for that to be a thing and to combat the meta and like I don't know. Are you
Yeah, I
satisfied
like
with what we have right now?
I think this brings on to the new subjects. That's good.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm following on your question there, because it sounds like you're asking if
Well,
it would be great if we could have a very aggressive meta, but we have that is the meta right now. It's all aggro basically.
Yeah, but in I think the points I was trying to make, in the past, we never had proper aggro decks. We just had slow things taking about 20 plus turns or so. We're now seeing that because wild decks are generally slow, and people are running some slow decks even in normal mono decks, we are seeing aggro decks suddenly becoming quite viable. Like my aggro growth deck, I'm winning in like 10 turns quite consistently. I'm sure your order deck, even though it's not quite as aggressive as it could be, is still winning pretty quickly. And the problem is people complained about games being too slow in terms of the number of turns it takes, but we're now seeing that it is possible now to have a meta where games can be quite quick. We do have a problem that wild decks on wild can be very slow. If you're not running an aggro deck, you can struggle against these wild decks. They do take a while. But we are starting to see games where it can be quick.
Yeah, and I personally, I enjoy, or maybe enjoy is the wrong word, but I like that there's so many viable aggro decks. What I don't want to happen, and at the moment it's sort of happened, but we have a long way to go, is that because of all these aggro decks, it's very hard to make a late game deck work, and I think you should be able to choose your own kind of deck you want to play. If you want to play aggro, if you want to play late game, and so on. But it should not be a meta that is just for one type of playstyle. It's probably how it's going to be, but the goal should be that you should be able to do a bit of whatever.
I think that's actually what Ice Cream wanted, if I'm not mistaken. What he was saying is that he feels a lot of stuff is really slow, and that he wonders if we also want to see a more aggro style be just as good as any other style.
Well, especially
Right?
in the wild color, like Bunky said,
okay.
he's running very successfully with growth, which I didn't realize. So I did mean it like you said it, but I'm taking it a little bit back. Yeah, there are some aggressive decks being kind of viable, and yes, late game order is not a thing anymore, and we are all very sad about it. But in wild, more talking about wild because what Wild introduced to the game was not shift into like more exciting meta. It introduced only options for the more late game things, really, and that's
what the very slow late game decks.
Yeah, that's what my concern is. That the Wild is striking something variety, but not in the direction I like. So. Yeah.
My aggro deck is only working because people are running so slower decks at the moment. That's the only reason. If it played normal decks, then I would be struggling.
I think also your deck is working very well because you play without doing as many mistakes as many probably do.
Oh, Oh, I'm blushing.
You're
Oh.
just so great at this game,
Wow.
Blinky. We love you.
Oh.
Oh, wait, what?
But it's a thing. I've said it to
Yeah, it's true.
I've said
It's
it to
true.
many that when you get to a
It's true.
certain kind of high point in skill, it starts to become a lot more relevant with a decision. I can do a bad mistake on turn 4, and the whole game is basically won for the opponent because I made that one mistake. That is seriously a thing. If someone don't think that is a thing, it is a thing. If you make one mistake in one turn, it can cost you the whole bloody game.
Yeah,
At least on that side. So it's a lot more about that sometimes than it is about the deck. Okay,
I was actually,
so yeah,
I was actually
you talk first.
something.
You say.
Yeah, sure. I might change the topic, so if you want to go back to it at some point.
I
I'm fine
wanted
with
to
that.
change topic, so good.
Okay. The topic I wanted to go to, if everybody's alright with that, is that there are some small, minor other changes that we might want to like just mention. Like, for example,
No, I'm not
I
okay with.
remember on my stream, someone said like, "Oh, what do you think of the Sister of the Owl change?" And I was like, "Wait, what? Sister of the Owl change?" Like I said,
We're
I
gonna
didn't
move
check
to
up
anime.
on it.
I am not okay with this. We're gonna talk about something else. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Okay.
Of course we can talk about it.
We'll get
I'll
to
leave
those
it
in a
up
minute. We're just going to finish talking about what we were talking about.
Okay.
Link is the host. Respect him. All right.
I
him.
respect Mr. Blake.
I respect
I have that all
him.
planned out in my head. Don't worry, we're going to cover everything.
All right.
We'll just finish this topic
Huh?
quickly. So
18
Ludwig,
minutes.
you
18
finished then.
minutes.
I know. Ludwig, you finished on that topic, are you?
Yes.
Ice Cream, have you got anything to add?
Not at all. I think.
Okay. Then we'll go on to talk about the rest of the changes then. If we are all finished. Where are we? So we've got Wild. Artifacts you don't need to care about. Let's talk about the score changes then.
The owl.
Let's go with Sister VR then. What do you want to talk about Sister VR?
My thoughts, right?
Yeah, go. Go on, you wanted to talk about it. You've now got your chance.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Come on.
People on my stream called it a nerf. I'll be honest, I don't remember the name. It was like, yeah, what did you think of the Sister of the Owl nerf? I looked it up, and I was like, I guess it's sort of a nerf. She's cheaper. She comes into a slot where she has a bit more competition, I think, at 5 cost. I'm not sure. I don't play Growth very often. And I think they said that they did it because they didn't want the like several Sister of the Owls to be played and her being able to like be taken back into your hand and then played again, where it would ramp into insanity, whereas Rat King doesn't have that option. I think that's what they said, which makes sense. The flying thing I think is really cool. I have no clue if it's any good, but I think it's really cool.
Flying's good.
Yeah, I haven't yet played yet, but I am actually really interested in.
Owl's other ability makes it rubbish.
Yeah.
But the ability
what's
flies. The ability fly is the best ability in the game. So there you go.
Move anywhere on board. Oh, the other thing, when Owl moves. Ah, yeah. Wait, what? When Owl moves, so that it doesn't matter if it's flying or not. Like,
No.
as in,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter
yeah.
if he flies or not. Wherever he goes, it's an extra countdown.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
what makes it bad. But the
Yeah,
ability
that's-
fly is incredibly good.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then that's a pretty harsh nerf, and I think the scroll won't be played anymore.
What I have seen play with sisters is actually playing the owls themselves, the one-cost owls themselves, and I found it really interesting. Like, it actually is kind of okay to play them now, because being 1/1/1 isn't as bad as one would think, especially with the enchantments going heavy in the growth decks. So that's kind of interesting. I like.
Yeah, it's like a baby brave.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the sister was boring back then, and right now she introduces more styles with her and these options. So I think it was a good change, personally.
I will say that my initial thought was that I felt it was more of a. I will say why I thought it was more of a buff, and then I will say why I a little bit changed my mind. Is that at first I felt it was more of a buff, as it still gives the same amount of increased attack to the sister as 2 owls would have done with 2 count on each, and she won't receive as much health now just 1 more health instead of 2 more health, but she costs 1 less, and that is quite big thing. So in my opinion, was more to the edge of a buff than a nerf. But then people gave good reasoning, this whole flying thing and that kind of stuff, and I'm like, yeah. So okay, she wasn't buffed, but she was just modified. It isn't exactly a nerf.
Yeah, it
Sorry.
really is neither. It kind of is nerf to decks that want to God Hand a lot, and I'm absolutely fine with nerfing decks that want to God Hand a lot, and it is kind of a buff that want to go more into different playstyle, and I approve of that. So yeah, it's a good change for the better direction. It's going in the right way.
Okay, so that's Sister Vial. Let's give a quick mention to Our Heart's Disciple, which now does idle damage when it damages another unit instead of just hitting it. And
I thought that was pretty good.
I love that unit, but it needs to be 2 cost and 2/3, and then it will be fucking amazing. Right now,
Does it need to be?
Well,
Does it?
Exactly.
Yes.
Maybe it's not supposed to be fucking amazing. Maybe it's just supposed to be average or good.
I want to play the aggro decks, and I have him in my decay energy deck, and I really like the unit,
You love him.
but by the time he attacks, it's already all messy on the lane, and he isn't really doing much, and it's very easily removed. I want him up to be early and deal some idle damage early and put some pressure very early, and I want him to be my 2-drop, and he's a 3-drop, and that sucks because I have other 3-drops like Road Eaters and so on.
I think the change is good. I'm just feeling that maybe they should do something. I'm not sure how much that would maybe fuck up the whole system, but maybe they should do something so that his 1 damage to the idol is something you can, so to speak, play around with. So you can maybe give him a hex mark for more damage or whatever, because right now that doesn't work. But if it could work, that would be
cool.
nice. So I mean, like, so you could do something more with him there. That is kind of what I feel, but it was definitely a good buff to him.
Yeah.
Good. I'm a fan as well because it goes in yellow decay. Uh,
I like to mention, if you don't have something specifically on your mind what unit to mention, I like to mention the whole ward thing.
I was about to get to that, so go ahead.
Yeah.
I am organised.
The short thing gonna say is the short one is about K, so you can now buff K on your own as such. That I'm like, this is sweet. It got great potential. You can use like fleetness on her, and then when I really went into depth, checked everything, I'm like, yeah, you can use fleetness, and I can't really find anything else. This was a disappointment. I was hoping a little bit for finding more synergy with that, but okay.
You
fine.
can. What? So you can put enchantments on it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you got your sword, haven't you?
Yeah. So.
There you go, then.
Well, sort of, but so I guess it's more of like now it's more nice that you can sort of use purification on her if she gets the infectious blight or whatever, like that kind of things. That's kind of nice now, and you can use and so you can use a blessing of haste on her if you want to, and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of nice. And so that is that's just a short one. I don't have much.
That change with ward is way more visible on the warder itself, on the 2 costs for health girl, because she is fucking OP now. If you can't even enchant her, can't do anything to her, yeah. The warder is really strong now, really strong.
Yeah. If you don't mind, we need to move on from that now because we've only got 10 minutes left. Stuff
yeah,
to cover.
mention.
No, don't care. We've got to talk about the 7-card hand limit.
You can read what the ward does. Too many is like, what does the ward do?
Don't care. We've got to talk about the 7-card hand limit because that's the thing.
All right.
Now when your hand becomes 7, that makes no sense. Now when your hand has 7 cards in it, you can't sack for scrolls. You can only sack for resources. This has made people angry because now they can't do stuff they'd like to do. It hasn't affected me because I've been playing aggro decks and my hand's never that big. Has it affected you guys, and in what way?
I personally felt I haven't had any real effect from it, and I think it hasn't really affected the game pretty much in any way. It has, of course, it had the effect they mechanically gave it. Like, if you do have that many cards, no, you cannot sacrifice for more scrolls. But like, if you're using some kind of draw deck or whatever, you're using fertile soils and stuff. They still work. You can still
Well,
get more scrolls,
I
and
thought
often people who do often draw. Yes, I'm gonna let you talk. The people who often draw a lot of stuff and play. They play it. They do not draw 20 cards in their hand and then play. They often have like they draw something, play it out, draw something more, play it out, and so on, and they just keep on cycle like that. So it doesn't really help in that way. And if you want to stop for the iPad thing to not have that many cards in hand, that's also not happening. You can still, because of Fertile or whatever, get more cards. So I haven't felt any effect. I don't feel it did that much either.
it's right. Well, the effect I heard about, I thought it wouldn't. It's like it's not really a big change for me, and even for the draw decks. But then I watched Double Gay Davis Bowie's stream, Quincy Jones' stream today, and he was talking about it and why he hates it, because when he is searching for a really important card, for example in Growth, when he's searching for Quakes that he desperately needs, he now has to sacrifice for resources in order to then go and search for more Quakes, and he's skipping a turn when he could be getting the Quake. So in that way it is kind of weird that you cannot really fish for the card you want to draw. And yes, you have your fertile soil, but you really want to use all your options to get to the card you need faster. And you could play more units on board, but if you know they are just going to die, you need to that Quake. So it has some kind of impact on the balance, and I can see that upsetting people, but other than that, I don't see it as a problem.
To be fair, this whole strategy with I just need to get 2 Quakes in my hand, and then I can get back from it. It's a bit of a design problem in the game itself, in my opinion. But let's not go too far on that. But I'm just gonna mention that some of these things may be not really supposed to be a thing in the game for itself. Okay, and Dryad and Blinky, you card hand 7.
I'm supposed to say things about card hand number 7, right?
Yes,
Supposed to be paying attention. That would be nice.
lucky number 11.
Yeah, I am paying attention. Don't worry, I know what we're talking about. It was apparently implemented. It seems to have happened. I played some games as Structure Energy, who always have card issues. So I'm not playing Clock Library, so I never noticed anything. I didn't even know that they changed this. So yeah, I don't know. I agree that maybe some decks with the Quake search have a problem, but I wouldn't say I mind, because
So you-
I don't like Quake at all.
So you haven't witnessed it, but what effect do you think it did to the game?
What effect I think it will have on the game?
No,
Aggro
it
decks
did
won't-
have. It has happened. So what happened?
Oh, what effect do I think it might have maybe had on something? Searching for Quake might be a problem now. Searching for, what's the other thing called that Decay always looks for, the thing where they get a bunch of zombies, Necrogeddon, might be a problem now. Searching for, might be a problem now. Like, searching for stuff might be a problem. You can just play creatures, usually, if you're looking for some specific spell, to just stall out until you find it. Like, it's
Alright,
still
so-
annoying. But
So
I don't think it will have any... I don't see a problem. I don't think it will
just
have
think
much
that being,
effect on
being able
anything.
to sack for scrolls in the first place is such a big advantage in the game, CCG anyway. So you are getting that added bonus of being able to sack for scrolls on top of being able to play these draw scrolls that you might have. So I think it's a nice balance. I think maybe the hand size could just be increased ever so slightly, maybe to 9, 8 or 9, something like that. But I haven't really noticed anything. If your hands get that big anyway, then you're doing something wrong generally.
So we have the consensus about it is that 2 out of these 3 people says you can no longer fish for broken scrolls, and
That's all of us as well.
But it's not only about Quake, man, and it's not only the situations you are thinking about. Anyway, I think if it's addressing a problem, it's addressing it in a bad way. It doesn't really have a huge impact, but neither does it solve anything. So.
Yeah, and I'm
That's true.
also
That's
on
true.
what I think Blinker mentioned that it's sort of like it's part of the core game mechanic that you choose between resource and scrolls. If you remove one of that, that's like that's the charm with the game. You choose what to sacrifice. God damn it! Like no, you no longer have a choice. You're doing it wrong, and you must have resources now. But fuck you, I'm not gonna sack at all then.
You don't have to sack.
Riot! Ludwig is starting the
And
riot.
you can play. And if you do have a 7-card hand, you can play something and then sack the scrolls.
Like I want my scrolls. I don't want any more resources. Okay.
I'm not saying.
Anyway, with 3 minutes ago, it's time to mention the most important thing, and that is a new button in game. On the front page, you have a tips and tricks button next to watch live games underneath trials.
Here I thought
If you
it was
click-
about rating.
If you click on said button, it takes you to academy.scrollsguide.com, which is a website that we're working on, offering lots of tips and stuff and articles for newer players, so that's worth checking out.
Loads of them.
And
That was
lastly,
actually
then,
neat.
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
lastly then, Ludwig, we can talk about the rankings quickly. What do you want to mention?
I want to mention that as I don't really know the whole what is color and so on, so I'm gonna call it bronze, silver, gold. The bronze 5 rank, it goes as people know as tier like rank 1, 2, 3, blah blah.
Novice ranks.
Yeah.
Then novice
And
ranks.
the rank 5 bronze, in my opinion, looks cooler than the rank 1 in silver. I think they should.
They're the ordinary ranks.
Yeah, they should redo that a little bit, because I don't want my rank to become less cool when I am promoted. And then I think that I am personally one of those who like that I'm not getting shoved in my face how all the statistic is going right now. That is sort of a stress factor. It's more calm, and my mentality enjoy more just having this. You're a badass, and you're still a badass. And but I want to be able in profile see the details, and that is not what we have.
I'm not sure by this, but I think you are able to see it if you have high resolution. I'm not sure if that's the case, but somebody was talking about something like that on IRC earlier today. Was asking, I think it was Gareth, semi-scrolling, who asked Mans on what resolution could he see something that I don't know what is. But I'm assuming that under the badge you have, there is some kind of information that you can see. So if you change up resolution...
Let me just remember, I think it's 1600 by 1200 something. Was it 1680 by...
I don't remember.
Yeah, it says Aspect Commander. Then it says rating 1947 for me.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that it just says rating and what kind of badass you are.
Yeah,
It doesn't give actually where you lie in number, and sometimes you want to know that.
It would be nice to see that. But anyway, we're going to wrap things up there because we have reached our hour up thing sentence. Good.
Riot,
I'd like to thank-
you're not allowed to have an opinion about this, okay?
But,
We're gonna wrap it up.
Guys, I want to finish on this great thing that happened.
Oh, go on, man. What happened?
They gave Ganon Automaton cool new armor.
It's
And I
good.
really liked
Cool.
I really liked it. I'm going to play him in every deck.
It's
That is
ugly.
it.
Fantastic.
I look good.
Have fun with
I
that.
look just the way
Right.
I wish you could. I look good. I look
Shut up.
good.
Go and have
Exactly.
a shave.
That's
Yeah.
me, not
I
the
want to
Canon.
thank Ice Cream, Ludwig, and Jayad for joining me today, and I want to thank everyone who turned up to watch. It's been quite interesting, I think. much discussion going on. And we shall see you next time for the next one where we discuss random things again. So goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.